Hello. I'm your friendly neighborhood geek. My buddy Henry is on vacation, but he's left a recording in his absence for you to enjoy until his return. Well, enjoy. Previously on Henry Mockingbird's YouTube channel. Legend Goes On isn't even the first animated Titanic movie. That goes to Legend of the Titanic. And from what I've heard, it's even worse than Titanic The Legend Goes On. But it can't be worse than this movie, can it? Could it? And now, the continuation. Hello, I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache. And I just sat through an animated movie that was so bad that it was actually painful to watch. But before I get on to tearing this thing a new one, let us talk about the company that made this atrocity. Stalling? Yes, but I do want to give this company some background. So, let us talk about Mondo TV. Mondo TV was an Italian animation film company founded by Orlando Corradi, which started as a distributor for such anime as Jungle Book, Adventures of Mowgli, Legend of Snow White, and Legend of Zorro. But they managed to gain enough money to start creating animated films of their own. And their very first feature film was Legend of the Titanic. And that leads me to my review of Legend of the Titanic. So let's dive into this film, shall we? The film is about an elderly mouse telling a story about what really happened the day the Titanic sank, saying that nobody died on the sinking of the Titanic. This story includes a one-eyed baron, jailer sharks, and a giant Mickey Mouse face octopus who puts the Titanic together so that everyone can make it out alive. So what do I think? And is this movie worse than Titanic The Legend Goes On? I think I can sum it up with this clip.
Yes! Hell yeah!
Yes, this movie is worse than Titanic The Legend Goes On. Not only is this movie bad, but it is an insult to the memory of everyone who died on the Titanic. You want to make an alternate universe? That's fine. More power to you. But when you clearly state that nobody died on the Titanic, one of the biggest disasters in history, not only is that insulting, but it is heinous. There is stuff in this movie that makes no sense. Like, for example, our heroine, Elizabeth, cries and her tears land in a net of magic moonbeams. Oh, sweet honey nut Cheerios. I wish I were making this crap up. But I can't. I can't make this crap up even if I tried. Which somehow enables her to talk to dolphins. How could she talk to other animals? Like, for example, the mice? I don't know. It's never explained. It's about as explained as how our villains can talk to the jailer's sharks. Now, to the movie's credit, they do give something of an explanation as to how they can contact them. Like, there's a scene where Jeffrey blows a whistle and the shark appears. But that doesn't explain how they could talk to the sharks. They even try to throw in an anti-hunting whale message.
That doesn't even make sense.
What do whales and the Titanic have to do with each other? This is like if Michael Bay tried to put an anti-water pollution message in his film Pearl Harbor. If I am going to give this movie one positive, is that the animation is actually pretty decent. Yeah, it's not Don Bluth or Disney, but at least it's nice to look at and is appealing to the eyes. First, there's Elizabeth, who is a poor rich girl who has to marry a man she doesn't love. But instead, she wants to be with a traveling gypsy because, love at first sight. And then there's the gypsy, Don Juan, who is nothing more than a traveling gypsy. And we get a creepy moment of him sniffing Elizabeth's glove. Because that's the way you want to introduce one of your main characters, to make him into a pervert. And then there's Don Juan's dog, Smile, who for some reason has a British accent.
You're right on that, my friend. Sometimes I just lose sight of the fact that not all creatures are created equal.
And then there's Top Connors, which, if you haven't noticed by now, is supposed to be the elderly mouse telling his grandchildren the story. And then there's his friend Ronnie, who is supposed to be a Brazilian mouse. And now the villains. We have Elizabeth's wicked stepmother. We have the jailer sharks, Jeffrey, the Baron's goon, as well as Baron Maltravers, who is nothing more than just a cliche generic villain. And dig this, he's voiced by Gregory Snackoff, who was also in Wicked City, as well as My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, and Cool World. You want to know what else this guy voiced? Well, yep, That's right, he voiced Fritz the rapping dog. And then there's Tentacles, who is so freaking huge. I mean, look at him. He's got to be almost as big as the Titanic itself. And his tentacles are so muscular. And if you thought this movie existing was not insulting enough, it somehow managed to spawn a sequel called Tentacolino, aka In Search of the Titanic.
Franchise.
This movie does not deserve that clip. I'm not going to tempt fate like I did with my Titanic The Legend Goes On review. But if it is, in fact, worse than this movie, then, ladies and gentlemen, I beg you, I implore you, pray for me tonight. I'm Henry R. Mockingbird, your host with the mustache, signing off. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go take a shower and try to wash off all memories of this abomination. I give this movie 1 star. Like, and subscribe to the channel and ring bell for future uploads. If you like to make a movie request on this channel, do so in the comment section below. And feel free to check out my other shows, Modern Classics, TV Treasures, and Geek Reviews. And check out my editorials.